Welcome to my daily HR Metrics series by Nicolas Bebani. Quick question. Think about your last team meeting. Not whether it was interesting, not whether everyone attended, not even whether you had a good discussion. When the meeting finished, did everyone actually know what happened next? What did we decide? Who owns it? What happens next? And by when? Because perhaps we don't have a meeting problem. Perhaps we have a follow-through problem. And some fascinating research from BTS made me think differently about how we measure team effectiveness. Welcome back to the daily HR metrics. BTS studied 1,043 respondents across more than 100 teams and nearly 70 organizations, and they look at what high-performing teams actually do differently. 4 areas stood out: psychological safety, can people speak openly? Constructive conflict, can people disagree when making disagreement personal? Enterprise value creation, does the team think beyond itself and create value for the wider organization? And stakeholder engagement, does the team stay connected to the people it ultimately serves? But buried inside the research was one finding what that I love. BTS looked at something very ordinary, meetings, and they compared two behaviors. First, does the team meet regularly? Second, do people leave those meetings with clear accountability and next step? Guess which mattered more? The second, and not by little. 3.91 times more. Clear accountability and next step were 3.91 times more predictive of team effectiveness than simply meeting regularly. That stopped me because how often do we confuse activity with progress? We have probably all experienced this. You join a meeting 20 minutes before 40, 40 becomes 60. There are a lot of ideas, good conversation, everyone notes, someone says great discussion, and then you leave. And the hour later, someone sent a message. So, what did you actually decide? Or worse, who is doing this? And that's the answer becomes, let's discuss in these next meetings. We have just created the meetings to solve the problem created by the previous meeting. And I think where there is BTS finding becomes very real. The difference in team effectiveness was also striking. Teams at the top of the accountability clarity scale average 4.20 out of 5 for effectiveness. Those as bottom average 2.35. So clarity after the conversation isn't a small administrative detail. It appears closely connected to whether teams actually work well together. So today's metrics is deliberately simple. I call it team follow-through rate. Take the number of meetings that finish with 3 things: a decision, an honor, a next step. Divide that by the total number of meetings you access and multiply by 100. Imagine you review 100 team meetings. 78 finish with those 3 things, your team follow-through rate is 78%. But don't celebrate the 78% too quickly. I would actually look at the other number, 22%. What happened in those meetings? Why did people leave without clarity? And this is where HR analytics can help. Don't use TFR to create another dashboard that nobody looks at. Use it and ask better question. Does one team consistently finish meetings with clarity while another doesn't? Do large meetings have lower follow through? Does it depend on the leader or people discussing issues without having clear decision rights? Are we inviting 15 people when 5 could actually make the decision? And perhaps more importantly, do people feel safe enough to ask, wait, who actually owns this? Because follow through isn't only about process, it's also about behavior. So tomorrow when your next meeting finish, don't immediately open your inbox. Ask 3 questions. What did we decide? Who owns it? What happened next? If everybody can answer these 3 questions, maybe the meeting isn't finished yet. And perhaps that's the lesson from this research. High-performing teams don't simply spend time together. They turn time together into action. So stop measuring meeting, start measuring what happens after them. Remember also, behind every number is a person. See you tomorrow for another new HR Metrics. For your daily dose of learning in people analytics, make sure to like and follow my YouTube and LinkedIn page at Nicolas Bebani.